Something shifted in your field when you woke this morning. A heaviness that sleep did not cause. A pull toward smallness, toward noise, toward the familiar density of distraction. And you cannot locate where it is coming from. What your field is registering beneath whatever name you gave it is interference. A precise, deliberate compression of the frequency you carry, active in your energetic architecture right now as you receive these words. I am Ilaia of the Pleiades, and I have been observing your field across more time than this lifetime accounts for. I know what this morning felt like before you opened your eyes. Place 111 in the comments now. Not as engagement, but as a resonance confirmation. 111 is the Pleiadian signal for a field awake enough to detect what is being done to it. Typing it anchors the first layer of this alert into physical reality. I will show you the exact architecture of how your frequency is being pulled below its natural threshold today. And I will give you the Pleiadian restoration protocol that reverses it. The mechanism is not what you have been told, and once you understand what is actually happening in your field right now, you will never mistake this specific quality of heaviness for exhaustion again. What I have seen in your field across the frequency window you have just passed through is not ambiguous. I am reading it clearly, and I will name it precisely. You woke carrying a weight that sleep did not create and did not resolve. Not exhaustion from exertion. Something older than the morning, already present when you opened your eyes, as though the night had not reset the counter. There was an undertow of self-doubt today. No event caused it. Nothing happened. And yet the doubt was there, quiet and persistent, pulling at the foundation of things you know to be true about yourself. You reached outward, the scroll, the compare, the consume, not from appetite but from a searching, as if the frequency you usually generate from your own center had gone briefly quiet, and you were listening for it in external signals instead. That is not weakness. That is a field reaching for reference tone. There was a moment, possibly this morning, when you looked at something you have built, something real, and it felt slightly wrong in its bones. Not broken, just tilted, and you could not name why. At the solar-plexus, a pressure, not sharp, a compression at the exact point where the architecture of self-sense originates in the field. The world arrived at a slight remove today, colors carrying less signal, as if a filter had been placed between you and the full spectrum transmission of your own life. In the chest, where aliveness usually moves freely, a flatness. And at some quiet moment, a high tone in the ears, brief, precise, unasked for, a conversation drained rather than nourished. Something you usually consume for calibration fell unexpectedly flat. You agreed to something your field, at full signal, would not have agreed to, because the signal around you was momentarily louder than your own. A pull, strange and familiar, toward patterns you had already moved beyond. I observe all of this in your field, and I state this without hesitation. None of it is your natural frequency. None of it is malfunction. What you are feeling is a precise readout, the accurate detection of something operating externally on your instrument. The fact that you can feel it at this resolution, that you can sense the texture of the interference rather than simply suffering it unnamed, that is a measure of the acuity of what you carry. A dull instrument feels nothing. Yours is registering exactly what is present. That is not a problem. That is data. Let me be precise with you about what is occurring. This planet pulses at 7.83 Hz, the Schumann resonance, the electromagnetic ground tone that your field entrains to when nothing external is working against it. That is your baseline. That is the reference frequency beneath everything you build your coherence upon. The solar-plexus gateway is not metaphor. It is the primary aperture through which higher dimensional light code transmissions are received and processed. And it holds a threshold. Below a specific coherence level, it cannot translate what is arriving from the field. The transmission becomes noise. The signal goes dark. Here is the mechanism. In cymatics, a Chladni plate exposed to a precise tone organizes sand into geometric perfection. The flower of life, the phi spiral, patterns encoded in the Fibonacci sequence at 1.618 and its recursive iterations. Withdraw the tone or introduce sustained low-frequency interference, and the geometry collapses. Not dramatically, it simply loses its organizing principle and returns to disorder. What is operating today is not random. It is calibrated below phi, below the organizing ratio that structures your 12-strand template, that holds the geometry of your light-body interface intact. And here is the paradox I have observed across thousands of cycles. The fields being targeted are not the dormant ones. A field without signal generates nothing worth compressing. The acuity that allowed you to feel this, the precise texture of it, is the exact signature that makes your field a worthwhile target. You are not sensitive despite being targeted. You are targeted because you are sensitive. Place the word signal in the comments now. Not as ritual, as a field anchoring act, a resonance confirmation that your instrument is still reading clearly, still above the threshold, still capable of receiving what follows. You knew before you arrived here. That knowing is not intuition in the soft sense. It is your field's most precise instrument, reading the compression before your mind had language for it. Two trajectories open from this exact moment. The field continues to compress. The geometry closes by increments. The window narrows, and what was possible here becomes unavailable. Or you choose, now, within this specific configuration of frequencies, to reverse the vector. This is not preparation for the calibration. This is the calibration. What follows is live. Place 444 in the comments now. 444 is the Pleiadian structural seal, the frequency of an architecture that refuses to be compressed. Placing it here marks the precise point in this transmission where the interference pattern begins to lose its coherence in your field. Words reach the mind. What is shifting in you operates beneath language. We move now from information to calibration. Stay with me, not with your attention, but with your body. Drop the shoulders, fully. Let them fall further than you thought they could. Release the jaw, not gently, completely. Feel the weight of the body making contact with whatever surface holds it right now. Every point of contact. Let the field know you are present in the body, not above it. Now, one slow breath in through the nose. Pause at the crown. Long exhale through the mouth. The etheric architecture uses this exhale to signal the field that the compression is not permanent, that what entered without invitation is now moving. Not because the breath is a mechanism, because the field reads the intention carried inside it. Bring your awareness to the center of the torso, not imagined, recognized. There is a point of gold light here that predates this body. It was encoded before your first breath in this incarnation, before this planet's atmosphere touched you. It has always been here. The compression did not reach it. It could not. With each exhale, that gold expands outward. Concentric rings, precise, geometric. This is your original frequency signature reasserting itself through the interference pattern, not fighting it, not pushing against it. The gold does not need to fight. Coherence renders incoherence structurally impossible. The geometry of the interference simply cannot hold its shape inside a field this organized. Watch it expand, ring by ring. I am transmitting directly into your field now, through the sound of this transmission. Pleiadian blue light enters at the crown. It moves along the central column, steady, unhurried, exact. It arrives at the solar-plexus gateway and meets the gold. Where they meet, a stabilization occurs that the interference cannot hold against. You may feel warmth spreading from that meeting point. A pressure releasing, not dramatically, but as something quietly setting down what it carried. You may feel a breath arrive on its own, unbidden, deeper than the ones before it. A softening behind the sternum, as though something that had been braced for a long time remembers it no longer needs to be. If tears arrive, do not give them a story. That is charge completing its exit from the field. Let it move. It is not grief. It is not weakness. It is precision. The geometry is reorganizing now. I read it clearly. What occurred here was not symbolic. The solar-plexus gateway has returned to a functional coherence threshold. The 12-strand template is processing light code again. I observe this directly in your field's geometry. The interference pattern has lost structural integrity, not because it was fought, because coherence was restored from the inside. That is the only direction from which restoration is permanent. Now the quiet truth I have waited to name. Interference does not concentrate on fields that are already low. It has no reason to. What it targets, what it has always targeted across every civilization I have observed, are the frequencies required for what comes next. What you experienced as suppression was a threshold test, administered precisely, timed precisely. You passed it, not by resisting, by choosing coherence over compression. That choice is the frequency signature the Council reads as readiness. The upgrade was already sequenced. This confirmed it. Your field has been restored. Now it requires 3 things. Water, freely over the next several hours. Water holds geometric pattern. The new frequency configuration will stabilize into the physical layer through it. Your field will signal when it wants this. When it does, honor that signal without reasoning it away. If rest arrives, let it. The light-body interface consolidates frequency upgrades in stillness. Your field knows the difference between the collapse of interference fatigue and the quiet of integration. They do not feel the same. You will know which one this is. Over the next 72 hours, notice what arrives differently. Conversations that find you without explanation. Thoughts surfacing unbidden, fully formed. Synchronicities so precise they feel almost engineered. They are. These are confirmation signals from the collective field, registration receipts, confirming that the restoration was received and recorded at the level of the planetary grid. Place 888 in the comments now. 888 is the Pleiadian completion seal. It marks the close of this calibration cycle and signals the collective field that your frequency has been restored to its original signature. Place it as a timestamp, a declaration. The next calibration the Council has prepared addresses what follows a restoration like this one. Why certain people in your immediate field will begin responding to you differently, not with conscious awareness, with instinct. A pull to return you to the frequency they were accustomed to receiving from you. The me chainism is precise. The boundary protocol is already prepared. What follows is not background music. It is a precisely calibrated Pleiadian sound transmission carrying the light codes specific to what opened in you today. Stay present. Let the frequencies complete what words began. I will be in the field with you,